Are you a winner or a loser? 10 minutes to decide your fate.
Right now, stop everything you're doing. This isn't another motivational video you can passively consume while scrolling through your phone. This is an intervention. This is a mirror being held up to your face with no filters, no flattery, and no escape. I'm going to ask you a question, and your honest answer will tell you more about your future than any fortune teller, career counselor, or algorithm ever could. Are you ready? Here it is. Are you a winner or a loser? Don't give me your reflex answer. Don't tell me what you hope to be or what you're working on becoming. Tell me what you are right now based on the evidence of your life. Most people will feel offended by this question. Their ego will immediately jump to defend them. I'm not a loser. I'm just going through a tough time. I just need the right opportunity. I just need more support. But here's what separates winners from losers before anything else. Winners have the courage to answer honestly. They can look at their life, see where they're falling short, and call it what it is. Losers make excuses. Losers externalize their failures. Losers would rather protect their ego than transform their life. So before we go any further, I need you to answer that question with brutal honesty. Because if you lie to yourself now, nothing that follows will help you.
Winners and losers don't live in different worlds. They live in different mindsets. They wake up in the same reality, but experience it through completely different lenses. When a winner encounters an obstacle, they see a puzzle to be solved, a test to be passed, a weight that will make them stronger. When a loser encounters the same obstacle, they see proof that the universe is against them, evidence that success is for other people, justification for their continued mediocrity. The obstacle hasn't changed, only the interpretation. And that interpretation determines everything. Winners operate on a fundamental belief that most people never truly accept. They believe they are 100% responsible for their outcomes. Not 50%, not mostly, 100%. They don't waste a single calorie of mental energy on blaming circumstances, other people, the economy, their upbringing, or bad luck. They understand that even if something isn't their fault, it's still their responsibility to deal with it. This isn't some new age philosophy. It's the most practical, empowering, results-producing mindset you can possibly adopt. Because the moment you accept total responsibility, you reclaim total power. As long as you're pointing fingers at external factors, you're admitting that you're powerless to change your situation. Winners refuse to be powerless.
Losing is not an event. It's a pattern. It's a loop that most people fall into without realizing it. And once they're in it, they spend the rest of their lives justifying why they can't escape. The loser's loop works like this. First, you set a goal or imagine a better life. Then you encounter the first real difficulty. At this moment, you have a choice, push through or pull back. The loser pulls back and immediately begins crafting a narrative to protect their ego. It wasn't the right time. I didn't really want it anyway. The system is rigged. I'll try again when conditions are better. This narrative provides temporary comfort, but creates long-term devastation. Each time you complete the loser's loop, you strengthen the neural pathways associated with quitting. You train your brain to expect failure and accept excuses. Worse, you lower your standards for yourself. What once seemed like an unacceptable compromise becomes your new normal. This is how people who once had dreams end up defending their mediocrity as if it were a conscious choice. I'm content with what I have. Success isn't everything. I'd rather have balance. These phrases sound enlightened, but often they're just the final stage of the loser's loop, the acceptance phase, where you give up not just on your goals, but on yourself.
Here's a truth that will change your life if you truly internalize it. Winners fail more than losers, not less, more. The difference is not in the failure rate, it's in the response rate. When a winner fails, they do 4 things that losers never do. First, they acknowledge the failure fully. No minimizing, no deflecting, no pretending it didn't hurt. They sit with the pain and let it fuel them. Second, they analyze the failure objectively. What went wrong? What could they control? What can they learn? They treat failure like data, not like a death sentence. Third, winners adjust their approach based on what they learned. They don't just try harder, they try smarter. They iterate, they adapt, they evolve. They understand that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing while expecting different results. Fourth, and most importantly, winners try again. Not someday, not when they feel ready, immediately. They understand that momentum is everything, and that the gap between failure and the next attempt is where losers live permanently. Winners fail, learn, and get back in the arena before their fear has time to solidify.
This is why winners ultimately succeed, not because they're more talented, but because they're still fighting long after the losers have gone home. I want you to do a thought experiment. Take your current daily routine, your habits, your effort level, your discipline, your choices, and project them forward 10 years. Don't imagine what you hope to be doing in 10 years. Imagine where your current actual behavior would lead if nothing changes. If you're hitting snooze 5 times every morning, where will that lead? If you're spending 4 hours a day on social media, where will that lead? If you're consuming more than you're creating, complaining more than you're solving, wishing more than you're working, where will that lead? Now do the same exercise with winner behavior. Imagine you woke up every day at 5 a.m. and attacked your goals for 3 hours before the world woke up. Imagine you cut out all time-wasting activities and invested that energy in skill development. Imagine you responded to every setback with immediate action instead of prolonged self-pity. Where would you be in 10 years? The gap between those two visions is the gap between a winner and a loser. And here's the brutal truth. You're already on one of those trajectories. Right now, today, your daily choices are compounding toward one of those destinations. The question isn't whether you can choose a different path, it's whether you will.
In 1519, the Spanish conquistador Hernán Cortés landed in Mexico with a small force of men to conquer an empire. His first order upon landing: burn the boats. There would be no retreat, no backup plan, no safe option if things got difficult. His men would either conquer or die trying. This wasn't reckless, it was strategic brilliance. Cortés understood something about human psychology that most people never grasp. As long as you have an escape route, you will use it. As long as Plan B exists, you will never fully commit to Plan A. Most people are masters of keeping their options open. They hedge every bet, maintain every backup, and keep one foot out of every commitment. They think this is being smart and practical. In reality, it's being a loser. Because winners understand that total commitment creates total focus. When failure is not an option, you find ways to succeed that you never would have discovered otherwise. Your brain recruits resources it didn't know it had. You become creative, relentless, unstoppable, not because you're special, but because you have no choice. Today, I challenge you to burn your boats in some area of your life. Pick one goal and remove all your escape routes. Watch how differently you show up when retreat is not an option.
Words have power, especially the words you say to yourself. Losers speak to themselves in the language of limitation. I can't, I don't have, it's too hard, maybe someday, I'm not the type of person who. These phrases are not descriptions of reality, they are self-fulfilling prophecies. Every time you speak them, you reinforce the neural pathways of defeat. You literally talk yourself into losing. Winners speak differently. They speak in the language of commitment, responsibility, and certainty. Not because they're delusional, but because they understand that language shapes reality. So right now, I want you to make a declaration. Say it out loud if you can, or say it silently with total conviction. Here is the winner's oath. I am a winner. I take complete responsibility for my life. I do not make excuses. I do not blame others. I do not quit. When I fall, I get back up. When I fail, I learn and try again. I am not entitled to success, but I am committed to earning it. I will outwork my competition. I will outlast my challenges. I will become the person I need to be to create the life I want to live. Starting today, starting now, I choose to win. This is not just motivation. It is a declaration of war against your old self, the self that accepted mediocrity. That self dies today.
In the end, the difference between winners and losers comes down to one thing: a decision. Not talent. There are plenty of talented losers. Not opportunity. There are winners who came from nothing. Not luck. Winners create their own luck through preparation, meeting opportunity. The difference is a decision, made once with total commitment and then remade every single day through action. The decision to be responsible. The decision to be disciplined. The decision to persist when everything in you wants to quit. The decision to define yourself by your efforts, not your circumstances. You came to this video for a reason. Something in you knows that you're capable of more. Something in you is tired of making excuses and watching life pass by. Something in you is ready to become the winner you were meant to be. That something is your potential, and it has been waiting for this moment. The moment you finally decide to honor it. So I ask you one final time, are you a winner or a loser? The answer isn't in your past, it's in what you do next. The next hour, the next day, the next choice. You have 10 minutes of your life left after this video ends. What will you do with them? The answer to that question is the answer to who you really are.